Have you wondered why elephants frequently throw sand and dust on their bodies? In episode 4 of our Elephant Behaviour series, we take a closer look at this common behaviour referred to as dusting, and we discuss the reasons and context in which elephants love to throw and blow dust all over themselves. By throwing dust onto their bodies, they help create a natural sunscreen from the sun's harmful UV rays, which helps prevent sunburn, especially in the harsh African sun. The sand or dust also assists with thermoregulation, which means that it helps regulate their body temperature, assisting them in keeping cool. The sand and dust, and when wet, mud, also acts as an effective insect repellent, helping deter flies and mosquitoes and other various insects. It can also assist in soothing insect bites. According to the ethogram, the behavior dusting can be observed in two different contexts of behaviors. The first is called Foraging and Comfort Technique, and the second context is maintenance. It is hard to define which of these two contexts or reasons an elephant will be dusting for, so we have made reference to both contexts for this episode. Let's take a look at the first possible context, which is referred to as Foraging and Comfort Technique. In this instance, we're not discussing anything to do with foraging, but rather only comfort. Elephant Voices describes it as methods or techniques employed by elephants to achieve comfort. This would be true if they were dusting themselves to protect themselves from the sun or to help soothe insect bites. The second possible context is called maintenance. Now, Elephant Voices describes this context as follows: behaviors or activity states, excluding interaction, employed by elephants for basic subsistence. In the case of dusting, this behavior assists in ensuring that their bodies are protected from the harsh sun and potential sunburn and further insect bites, and therefore helps maintain a healthy skin. It is very difficult to tell which of the two contexts the elephants would be dusting themselves for on each occasion. However, both contexts are highly likely and feasible. The behavior dusting is described by Elephant Voices as follows: using the feet to kick and loosen earth, and then the trunk to scoop it up and throw and blow it over the body. So with all that said, it's time to look at some dusty examples from our herd archives.
You'll see this sand bath that he's taking. So just looking at the surroundings, you'll see there's ample of soil. And then this also helps the sand bath for the parasites. And just to cool off again.
This is such a great example of dusting. Jabulani, the second most dominant bull of the herd, is seen here doing a full service dust. It's a very dry winter's day, and there's ample loose and soft sand that he is making the most of. You can see how he tosses the sand over the body, under the body, and even beneath the chin area to help target those pesky insects and insect bites.
Okay, Zimbabwe, our biggest of all. He had a good swim, worked himself up, all his energy, went into that water, actually danced, looked at it as if he had a dance, and now enjoying his sand bath on that wet skin.
That's Adine's voice you can hear discussing Zimbabwe, the biggest and most dominant bull of the herd, who is seen here dusting after having a good swim. And we all know just how much Zimbabwe loves his playful swims. So elephants tend to dust a lot whilst wet so that the sand and dust will stick to their skin better, providing a longer lasting sunscreen or insect repellent. You'll also observe elephants throwing mud on their skin, and this is referred to as mud splashing, and we will share some examples of that in a future episode. Let's rewind now to the year 2020, and you can see Booby on the left dusting herself beautifully next to Kanyisa, who looks so small, whilst Pisa on the right looks like she may be loosening sand to dust herself, but she's actually trying to loosen a root system in the ground that she'd like to eat.
Before they will also move further on in their feeding area. So they're all just huddled around and taking a bath. Full of dust on their wet skins. You can also see Sindoga's got a nice wet skin. See some of the mud.
Sindoga is enjoying a post-swim dust session. You can see here where he blows rather than throws the dust from his trunk towards his underbelly, making sure to coat his entire body and try to target all the little crevices where insects can reach. This can include behind the legs as well as behind ears. Watch as he uses his right foreleg to kick and loosen more sand and dust, which he prepares for his trunk to then scoop up, and continues to both blow dust under his mouth and chin and throw the dust over the top of his head and upper body, and at the same time managing to give a good dusting to our founder, Adine, too. Tamisa is loving giving herself a good dusting in this beautiful light. She is a juvenile elephant that was rescued in late 2016, who has become like a big little sister to Kanyisa, who is an albino calf that was rescued in 2020. Kanyisa learns so much from her new family, and especially from those that she is closest to and spent the most time with, such as Tamisa and Kabura. It is essential that Kanyisa learns to dust herself with her light pigmentation due to the albinism. The dusting helps protect her delicate skin from the sun, and that is why she only looks pink when she has been in water for a long time, as all the sand and mud has been rinsed away, and she starts the whole process all over again.
Hi, my second.
Kanyisa is seen here in our herd orphanage, practicing her dusting technique in a playful manner. She's having a great time. She does a good job, as you can see that she manages to dust herself on the top of her body, as well as a good dusting below her stomach and her neck area too. Our herd orphanage staff will often throw sand and dust on orphans whilst in our care to continue the calves' learning and discovery, which is so important for their development. This is quite a lovely moment shared between Fishin, who's a bull who survived a broken leg in 2018, with Tamisa. Tamisa is seen to try help loosen the sand by the use of her feet, and Fishin then scoops the sand up to dust over himself. This is a great clip of Zindoga making the most of the rain and enjoying a good dusting, as the dust and sand will stick to his body better when it is wet. You can see him using his right foreleg to kick up the sand before scooping it up with his trunk and covering his body as much as possible. Kumbura and Kanyisa are enjoying their afternoon together, which is not an unusual sight, as Kumbura is the best big sister and allo mother to Kanyisa and hardly ever leaves Kanyisa's side. Perhaps this is because she too was an orphan that was rescued in 2009. Kanyisa is having a little lie down whilst Kumbura enjoys a good dusting. A horizontal Kanyisa decides to also give herself a little dusting with her little trunk while she watches Kumbura's technique. Calves continue to learn every day from their elders as they watch them closely. Where there is water and swimming, there will always be dusting and mud splashing. The herd are seen here cooling off for the midday swim. While there is a lot going on in the clip, you can see in the distance Zindoga and Jabulani. They have just finished their swim and gone to an area that has a lot of sand and also a section that they will be able to rub themselves against and ensure that the sand and mud is caked against their bodies, creating a natural barrier for their skin to the elements. And that's us, done and dusted for this episode. Thank you for choosing to watch this series and learn more about African elephants and their unique behaviours. You should now be familiar with the behaviour called dusting and how it can be seen in both contexts of maintenance and foraging and comfort technique. A special thank you once again to the team at Elephant Voices for creating and publishing the Elephant Ethogram for everyone to enjoy and learn from. And by the way, we'd like to say a big thank you to you for tuning into Herd's YouTube channel. Did you know that every time you watch a video, an advert, or share a video or comment on a video, it helps us increase our viewership on YouTube, and the team at YouTube reward us. So please keep watching, and we are so grateful for your continued support.